Drea,
Wack100
Keita tried to
said,
go hard for you and got packed up.
Man, listen,
what? I didn't
I
get
said
packed
what
up.
I said.
We want every side to come together to attempt to take down the 100 side.
Man, they gotta
But we want
understand,
all the
right?
smoke.
We go off the content.
Three, two, one. Hey there, welcome back to the channel where we keep it real. No capping. I'm your host, bringing you nothing but straight fire and authenticity. Today, we're diving into 12 rooms that I got to promote. The 100 ENT showroom, hosted by Big Wack100. The Beehive room, Love and R&B room, hosted by the Queen of the 100 side, R&B. No room for the weak, No Mercy room, Spin the Block room, 100 ENT Jailbreak Squad room, 100 ENT South room, Petty Betty and Toxic Tanya room, Dangerous Minds room, hosted by Beast, Good Burger, hosted by Pitbull, Sleepless in LA, and many more. If you want to get closer or you want to be a part of the show, go to Clubhouse, follow one of these rooms, or you look for a room titled with Wack100. These particular videos all made possible by the one and only Wack100. Get ready to vibe with me as we explore the hardest topics that need some real recognition in the streets. Let's jump right into it and show some love to this channel by hitting the like and or subscribe button. So, without further ado, hold it down, One mic on Wack.
He said, in a part of the clip, he said, yeah, it's probably true. I can't dispute it. That's what he said.
So his religion teaches homosexuality.
Yes. But when they tell people, when they teach it, so me battling them is why people know about it. But when people teach about Kemet, they only teach they built the pyramids, they knew math, they knew this, but they don't teach the gay stuff and incest for that matter. Because like King Tut, when they found King Tut's tomb,
They don't teach it or they don't expose it.
both, I would say they don't expose it.
Now,
I can't, yeah,
now
they
here
might
goes
teach it,
the
but they
thing.
might
Let
teach
me
it in
get
a
on the
different
other
way.
side of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been thinking about a lot of this shit. And I can't find the answers. When was homosexuality identified and labeled to be homosexuality?
I don't know what
Because
the
it's
term.
periods of times where they say men use that act to show their dominance. So, was there a time to where the law of the land said if a man did this to a man, it was putting a man in a place on how they stood to be looked at by other men as if it was a thing to beat their chest about? When did homosexuality start being frowned upon and identified as that word of what not to do?
The word homosexuality, I don't know when that came, but as far as the act itself,
Yeah, but
I
when
would
did
say
they
that
identify that that was wrong?
I would say only the Bible, personally. What I mean by Bible, not what we read as the Bible today. I'm talking about the nation of Israel. If you go from ancient cultures, because it's a cultural thing. So obviously Egypt didn't have that, so it wasn't a problem for them. But Israel did have that, it was a problem for them. So you'll read, mankind shall not lay with mankind as womankind. But some cultures, it might not be an issue. So I would say it's a cultural thing. But I think most cultures, to I won't say most cultures, but the culture that we subscribe to today is biblical based. And so that's why homosexuality is looked at as wrong. But you might find other cultures where
Okay,
they don't.
okay, so where in the Bible does it talk about that?
You find it first in Genesis, the 19th chapter with Sodom and Gomorrah. That's where
Where's
the
that?
term sodomite comes from.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from the city Sodom. So God destroyed their whole city because they were lying with men. They didn't want to lie with women. That's where you first see a recorded act of being against what we today call homosexuality. And then when we come out of Egypt, In Leviticus the 19th chapter, Moses say, after the doings of the Egyptians ye shall not do. And it start naming a list of things: incest, homosexuality, seeing your daughter's nakedness, seeing your son's nakedness, because Egyptians would sleep with their daughters, would sleep with the pharaohs especially. A
They
lot of
wanted
the
their bloodline
pharaohs,
to stay pure.
right.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When did they start seeing this as, okay, this is wrong? Because if it's a time where they saying this is right and this is the
hmm
ways of our land,
hmm
do you hold that against them?
I'm not doing it. Whatever, like it's
Okay,
I'll make.
Cap, if you're born, right,
hmm
you in the mountain somewhere, you born, right,
Right.
and you're raised and you're being taught as a little child to sleep in the doghouse.
hmm
You come to the city, the age of teenager. Where you gonna go try to sleep at?
In the doghouse, because
So
that's how
what
I
I'm
was raised.
what I'm saying
But I don't.
is,
I'm not
I'm
arguing. Yeah, I'm
looking
not.
at it. I'm looking at it from what we know it to be. What we know it to be, we know it to be. But in some of these stories, I ask myself, was this the ways of the land as just what it is?
Yeah,
Was
that's what
was
I'm
it
saying.
deemed to be wrong and they still did it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whack. Like if you talk about, that's why I said culturally speaking, you may have cultures that do a lot of things that other cultures don't do. So it's only wrong to that culture. So for me, it's wrong to my culture.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
yeah, but somebody else, it like for the Egyptians, that was not a problem. But for the Israelites, it was a problem. It's just two cultures, and once they come together, you find out what they agree with, what they disagree with. So they might agree with you can't murder nobody, but they're gonna disagree on who you can sleep with and who you can't sleep with. That's just different cultures. That's how it would be. So we look at it as wrong from our culture. Somebody else might not look at it as wrong. Just like more than one wife, like a man having more than one wife is cultural.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
they,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like all different type of worship of a god is cultural. People may
Hey,
say,
bro, it was a clip I saw. Um, I dropped it in the back channel not too long ago, but it was like the age groups where men could deal with women or vice versa. Nigga, that shit go all the way down to 11 years old.
"Good night."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Africa, somewhere in Africa was like 11. I want to
Mhm.
say Thailand might have been like 12, 13. Uh, different places, it was
Yeah.
different ages.
It's all different. Think about foods. Like you go over to China, what they eat and call food is not what we call food. You go to different countries and places, so culturally speaking, it's always going to be the indifference of things.
I
So
mean, you got some people over here that eat snake, but then I told the person, well, shit, I understand what you're saying. A snake can devour anything, whatever it devours it. The meat of the snake, nigga, is what is digesting. That's how a snake grows. But then you got the pig that eats anything too. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
Uh, so yeah, I was just wondering, you know,
yeah, that's a
from
cultural.
what you read,
Mm.
what era did it come from? Like, did them people like?
Yeah, it was natural for them. Like I don't read that like the Egyptians was doing something that they didn't believe in. That's why we're reading it from their records because they believed in it.
So the dude frowned upon it. The dude you was battling, or did
He
he just?
I can't say he necessarily frowned upon it. I can't say that. But he didn't want it to be out because when I read it, I said, so is this what we're going to teach to our black kids that
And
you
what he
can
say?
allow this? And so that's when he kind of like backed up a little bit. That's why Sinetta was like, where did you get this from? Because
Sinetta, bro, is your op. You do know that, right?
yeah, you tell me all the time. But yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
dude,
yeah,
be
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
find
yeah,
people.
yeah, that's my boy right there.
Yeah, okay. Dude, dude, be trying to find people to take you down. That's his whole mission. And he looks like a damn fool every time. Because even in that one, he was like, "Oh, where'd you get that from?"
Yeah,
Like
where you get that from?
every time he get blitzed, he can't handle it.
But see that works for me. That's almost like you could say
No,
the
yeah, no, I
nature.
get it.
Right, right. Yeah, that's like the nature of our relationship in that regard because he has to try to debunk or whatever it is that I believe in. So he ain't online. He's not supposed to be on my side. He's
So
supposed to be.
what was going on with who was that trying to get in contact with you? Was it
Who?
somebody from Nature Boy's camp or the other weirdo?
Oh yeah, no, somebody from Nature. So Nature Boy, I think his wife and his gay lover was trying to use me to talk about knowledge or some shit like that, and I just wasn't having it. I wasn't. I
So
wasn't.
Nature Boy dealt with men too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had a
dealt with
whole
men.
cult.
Yeah, he would have in front of
Mhm.
his kids, let his kids play with his.
He
And
would
one of
tell the
his
other
wives
men.
is she actually does like interviews and stuff like that and talking about. Are you talking about the light skinned one, Captain?
Well, he
That's the
has
wife you
I
were.
several.
know. I was over the phone, so I didn't see the person that called me.
Yeah, Dreas. He did.
If it's the
So
more vocal one is going to be the light skinned one. That's the one that's going to have reached out to. Because I followed that whole thing with that Nature Boy,
Her
like
name is
before he did with the
Velvet. We
trial.
talk about
Yeah,
Velvet.
we ran it.
Right.
We ran it.
So with that one, like that Nature Boy shit was sick as fuck. They all was walking around naked with all kind of STDs
hmm
dripping out their body.
you
That
ever see
dude
them
told.
videos of the men he would have
Nah,
obeying and
nah.
shit?
Listen,
The most thing is when the lady died. The nigga told her to stop taking the medicine. She had diabetes, and she went over there and died.
Yep.
that
And the
too,
crazy
but
part is,
oh,
Wack.
okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nah, the crazy part about it though was that for a lot of these encounters, he went live like on
hmm
Bigo or YouTube and stuff like. I think he's in jail right now. Yeah, he is in jail. He got indicted off of that, but yeah, he has some crazy coach shit going.
Yeah, definitely. And I've never had any interaction with him before he went to jail. Even before, so like him and Young Pharaoh kind of came up together, like Young before Nature Boy went crazy. But I've never had any interaction with him. So it's now I think because he's in jail, he wants to, I guess get his name or something out there. So I just wasn't entertaining it. So that's why I addressed him the way that I did. Especially some gay nigga talk to me. I want to talk about knowledge, nigga. I'm not talking to no gay nigga about no knowledge about no Nature Boy in jail. And we actually rescued a child from Costa Rica from them a couple years ago. So there's a sister in our school that used to be with them, and she had a son that he would not release. And so we actually went and got his son. I mean, got her son for him and everything. It was me and Shaka, and this was
Oh,
before
Shaka. Okay.
you got it now. So we was having a debate, the Bible versus Kemet. So that's the premise.
But
So
what?
they
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Any
So the premise.
particular?
I
Any
started reading
particular?
I started reading excerpts from the Egyptian hieroglyphics and then asking him to defend it.
See, well, that's a setup because
It's
I
not a
study
setup.
that and read them. No, not for you. He can't read it.
No, I read it off the walls.
No, no,
But
no.
I ain't
He
read the
couldn't.
actual.
Listen,
No,
he
no.
can't.
I wasn't asking him to read Meta
Hold
Netta.
on, bro. So you with the Egyptian shit too, Dale?
No, I
Yeah,
studied
you
it
kill it.
heavy.
You kill my.
Huh?
Listen. Hold on. Time out. Time out. Listen, man. That thing right there, trying to read that stuff and studying the language. Oh my God, it drive you crazy. But my point is this, Cat. He couldn't even tell you if you were wrong when you said what you said when you
I read
Well,
the source.
was he wrong?
I got to check it out so I can speak
Yeah, we gonna.
intelligently to
Yeah,
it. But Shaka
yeah.
don't read the language, and you know that.
The sources don't lie. You don't have to read the language.
Yes, you do.
Metanetta, if anybody keeps it 100, what they say is Metanetta is not full Metanetta because there's four letters that have never been translated.
That's not true either. But that's like
Dr.
somebody
Ben,
telling
listen,
you,
Dr. Ben
So
even
you
said that,
saying
brother.
that
Doctor
nothing
Ben.
in there says he was
Hold on, that's
depositing
Cat. But
semen in his buttocks?
listen to what you just said, though, Cat.
Did
That's
you
like
hear Wax's
somebody.
question? Did you hear Wax's
No, I'm
question?
gonna address you first, and I get to that. That's
Oh,
like somebody saying you don't have to understand or read the Bible to tell you that you're wrong.
That's not what I said.
No, that's like what you said. You
No,
said
it's
you don't
not
have
what I
to
said.
read the
Like
language.
what I said and being what I said is two different
But
things.
you said you don't have to read the language to understand what the people were saying. That's like saying you don't have to read the
No,
Bible
you don't.
and
No,
go
no, no.
against.
Okay, so when it comes to the Egyptian, there are respected translators: Faulkner, Miriam Litcham. Um, it's like two others, like four
I
that
know
are
'em.
respected.
I
Okay, then.
understand.
So when you read their translations, because their translations are respected and verified, you don't have to know the language
That's
because you're
not
going to
true.
those sources.
So what you telling
No
me
Hold
problem,
is
on,
brother.
Dale. Hold
No
on, Dale.
problem,
You
brother. That only makes
approaching it
sense what you're
wrong.
saying. Yeah.
You're approaching it wrong, Dale. You can't approach this shit with emotions.
it's no emotion.
Okay, so here we go. This how you supposed to approach this.
Give me
So,
one
and
more
whatever
chapter.
this book is, wherever this book is on the Egyptian side, Cap has found that it references men having sex with men outright. That's what Cap is saying, right, Dale?
I think that's what he's saying. Now I gotta check out the
Okay.
video.
All right. So Cap studies and reference the Bible, right, Dale?
Correct.
Okay. So in the Bible, we can all say that angels are symbolic for what it's supposed to represent on the godly side, the Jesus side of it, right?
I'm following.
Does it not say, Cap, in the Bible that the angels came down and fucked with men?
No, it don't. It don't say that.
You
It
sure
say
about that, Cap?
yeah. It say the
Slow
sons of
down,
God.
Cap, before you slow down, Cap.
Okay.
I want you to be absolutely sure about that, Cap.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So you said nowhere does it reference that the angels came down and laid with the men and had sex with
No.
the men.
It say sons of God, and people think sons of God means angels, but it's not angels.
So who's the sons of God?
It men are sons of God. Adam was a son of God, and so his sons would be sons of God. And so when it's saying sons of God in Genesis the 6th chapter, it's talk about interracial relations. So they were not supposed to mix with the other people. That's why when you read it, you'll never see a punishment to an angel. You only see punishment to
So
mankind.
who are the sons of God? So the sons of God's not symbolic for somebody that's on
Some
the godly
to
side?
Adam, yeah, to Adam and his seed or his
So if
tribe
they
would be.
say sons of God is men, then we got to say that that's on the godly
No,
side.
they wasn't having sex.
This
No,
how
no,
you fight back, Dale, right this right here.
nah.
No, but watch this. Hey,
That don't
listen.
work though. That
No, no,
nigga
no. Hold
crazy.
on, Cap. I got you.
It
But
says
what
the sons of
Wack is,
God saw the daughters of men though.
I got
That's
you.
they had sex with the women.
I'm
Watch
gonna
the
let
point
you
I'm
have
making,
it
though,
now,
Cap.
Dale. You got it. There you go.
Yeah, but watch this. It's only one
Shout out
thing,
to
and
the
he gonna
queen. The
agree
queen
with it.
gave me the direction.
He
I
gonna
don't know
fumble
why.
it. He gonna fumble it. Whack. He gonna fumble
No,
it.
sir, I don't do that. But Cap, the reason you were able to tell Wack it wasn't what he said it was is because you understand your book. That's my point. He doesn't read that language.
I mean, what's your point?
You were only able to debunk or attempt to because you have a thorough understanding of what is written.
I have an
Shaka does
understanding
not.
of reading. Good. I'm
No, no,
sorry.
no. Shaka doesn't understand what is written. He understands the culture very well. He studied it for decades.
So
But if
let's
you
listen
put
to
it,
it, and then
hold on,
you
hold on. I'm about to
explain when
land.
he
About to
banged
land.
sex
About to
in his
land.
ass.
About to land, bro.
Yeah.
About to land. If you was to point him to a glyph on the wall, a hieroglyphic writing, he wouldn't be able to tell you heads from tails. But if
No
somebody put a
problem.
Bible
So
in
on
front of
the
you, you
mhm.
could break it down like nobody else. To your credit.
so
That's what
so
I'm
I could
saying.
read.
It's
So I
no
could
slight
read.
on.
Okay. So
Dale,
when you read,
Dale,
good.
you gotta keep it right. See, your next thing should have been, why doesn't it
I
speak
told you he was
against
gonna fumble it.
why doesn't it speak against homosexuality in the Ten Commandments? Dale, I'm trying to give you the game, Dale. You got to fight this nigga different.
No, we good. Me and Cap been doing me and
Nah, you
this
gotta
is
fight him different.
all right,
I know
dog.
how
I
to
take the
fight this
coaching.
nigga.
I take the coaching. I take the coaching.
See, you letting it, you cannot put him in the space where he's comfortable at. You gotta put him in a space that makes him have to come up with the answer.
That's
See,
happened
if the
before.
answer's already there, this nigga know he didn't read it. You gotta make him come up with an answer that is yet to be written. So why is it homosexuality addressed in the Ten Commandments? Thou shalt not.
Mm. He gonna fumble it again. Whack.
No, he asked you the question that time. Talking
Oh,
about
okay.
family.
Oh, when it doesn't. So the Ten Commandments. This is
Uh,
how you answer because you know this is different between me and you, Dale. There's
no,
more than
don't do
10.
that. I don't take. Don't.
Oh,
Just
he
answer the
taking
question.
shots
You
there.
gotta take no. Yeah, slow down.
Come on, man. So it's more than 10 commandments in the Bible. So when we was talking earlier in Leviticus, it tells you mankind shall not lie with
We
mankind.
talking
That is
about the commandments. The commandments lay out
right.
what
This is
should
in the
and
command.
shouldn't be doing.
That's what.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not honor thy father, honor
Right.
thy mother, honor thy neighbor.
Right.
So you saying that homosexuality really wasn't a thing amongst the people that
So in
practice the
Leviticus
Bible.
18, it says, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind." It says what you're saying. It's just the there's just more than 10 commandments.
Who wrote the book of Leviticus?
Moses.
The Levites. Listen,
The Moses wrote. Well, Moses was
listen,
a Levite, so
listen. So Moses is a dude
Moses
that
wrote
came
Exodus
along
2.
later on and said, "I'm not with the
Moses wrote the Ten
homosexuality."
Commandments too. Wack. Moses wrote the Ten Commandments too.
Listen. What I'm trying, but he forgot to put that part. So maybe
Nah,
Moses. Hey, bro, you tell me what man is gonna mention killing, stealing your mother, your father, and a
but
neighbor, and
okay, no
not
problem.
mention
That's a
you
good
ain't supposed to
question.
be rubbing testicles on anuses.
So that's a good question. And when you read Exodus 20, as he's giving those commandments, it'll tell you why it stopped at 10. When they saw the thundering and the lightning, because it was the Lord, it was God telling that to all the Israelites, the Ten Commandments. And when they got to 10, when they
So
saw the
God
thundering,
didn't have a problem with the.
wait, let me explain. So when they got to the Ten Commandment, the children of Israel said, Moses, you go talk to God and then tell us what God said, and we'll
Here go
listen
the
to you.
lineup. You don't think this should have been in the top 5 commandments?
Nah. Nah,
No.
the split the
We got
tablets
him.
come.
So you saying the homosexuality should not have been in the top 5 commandments?
I'm saying the way the Lord delivered
Yes
the
or no,
commandments was
Cap?
the way
I'm
the Lord.
asking you. You saying thou shall not be homosexuality. Man shall not deal with man in these ways. Should not have been mentioned in the top 5 commandments of the
I'm
Ten
saying that the
Commandments.
Lord can mention the commandments however He see
No.
fit.
I'm asking you, Cap. Dale, this how you get him, Dale, right here. How you get him. Because now he got to own it or he got to say it's a violation. Either
No,
way,
I
it's
ain't
a
got to
win
say it's
for
no
me.
violation.
See, either way, Dale, he know I got him in a trick bag.
Trick
He know what I'm
bag.
trying to
Nah,
do.
Yeah.
nah, there ain't no
He
trick bag
know
at all.
either he gonna own it and say yes, it should have been victory on this, or he gonna say yeah, that's a violation. They should, which now tells us it's a big discrepancy in this book.
There is no discrepancy in the book. The
So you said
timeline,
homosexuality isn't of importance to be in the top 5 commandments to the Ten Commandments.
all of the
So if that's the
commandments.
case, why are you using it against a brother like it's an issue? If
So
y'all
now
say it's
Christ,
no big deal,
well,
why can't they say it's no big deal?
so Christ said, "Whosoever break the least commandment shall be least." So there is no such thing as a
No,
least
no,
value.
no. Here
Yeah,
where I
there is
kick
no
in
such
at,
thing.
Dale.
There
No
is no
sin
such
is what?
no sin is
Greater than the
greater or
next.
right,
Cap.
right,
Cap.
That's all
right.
cap.
Cap. Yeah.
Come
Dale, this
on,
how
I
you
mean,
fight this nigga, Dale.
yeah,
This how
I'm
you
y'all
taking notes.
losing the fight though. Y'all
Huh?
losing the fight.
Not
No,
really,
no,
Especially
cap.
no, no.
Dale. Wack,
No,
listen,
no,
Dale,
no,
Wack know
Cap,
you losing.
because
That's why Wack
you
trying to
have
help
just
you.
admitted that homosexuality wasn't that important enough
No, I did
for
not. I
your
did not say
God and
that.
Jesus
I did.
Christ
I did
to
not say
include
that.
that and being mentioned on the laws of the land.
That's not what I said. That's what you're trying
That's
to
what
spin.
you said.
You said that that commandment has to be in the top 5. What I'm saying, it doesn't matter where it's at. You can't break any commandment. That's
Well,
what I'm
guess
saying.
what?
But it's
It
not
ain't
Yeah.
in the
nowhere in none of
commandments.
the
That's the
goddamn
point.
It is
commandments.
the commandment. It's
It's
Leviticus, the 18th
no.
chapter. It's in
Get
the
him,
It,
Dale.
commandments.
Get him, Dale.
if it's
Yeah.
a commandment, wouldn't it say 11 commandments? Not.
It don't say one commandment.
It says 10. It don't say
Which
the
So
10
says
commandments.
God
In
was all
Exodus,
right with
in
the butt
Exodus
buster.
20, Well, so let's read the first in Exodus
God
20.
was all
It does,
right with it, bro. He
wait,
wasn't
hold
tripping.
up. In Exodus 20, it says, "Thou shalt have no gods before me." It doesn't say one, "Thou shalt have no God." It doesn't say two, "Thou shalt not make thee any graven image." It don't say three. It just says, "Thou shalt not."
Keep him going,
Don't got
Dale.
nothing to
Keep
do
him
with the
going.
commandments, though. That ain't got
That
nothing to
is the
do.
command. Are you saying that "Thou shalt have no other gods before me" is not a
So
commandment? Is that what you're saying?
you telling me it's not 10
Is that what
commandments
you
and it's
just
more?
said?
I'm
Is
asking.
that?
Did
I asked
Moses
my
write more than 10?
yes.
Then why is it not called 11?
Where's it called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
So you trying to tell me
They got,
nobody on this
Where
floor
answer the
has heard of the
question?
10 commandments?
When I
Hold on.
read, where's it called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
I can show you where it's called 10 everywhere.
Where? Show
Really,
it.
cat. Really, it should be called unlimited commandments then, based on what.
No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. And no matter what you say, you ain't gonna get around that them Kemet niggas was in shit.
You can't read the language, so you can't even speak on it. But what
I
you're telling
listen.
me
I
is,
what? So
now,
are
hold on.
you
But what you,
telling me?
hold on, real quick. But what you're
Yeah.
telling me is the Bible says that
Oh,
stealing the candy bar,
where Dre is
homosexuality
at?
ain't no worse than stealing the candy.
no,
Dre
what
is
I'm
in
saying,
here?
what I'm
Yeah.
saying is you can't steal and you
Okay.
can't be a
Come on,
homosexual. That's
Cap.
what I'm
But
I ain't
you,
gonna
saying.
lie to you,
Okay.
Cap. You should not be losing
Hold
this
on. Hold
conversation
on.
like
I
this,
I'm
can't.
man.
not
Listen,
losing the
tell him,
Cap.
conversation.
Bubby.
Cap, let
I'm
me
not.
ask you a question.
I'm not
I,
losing the
I can't
conversation.
particularly say these things, so I'm gonna have Dre's watch out. Watch out, woman. Watch out. So what you giving me, baby? Okay, Cap. Is
Hmm.
there a difference between male and female in a regular sized vehicle or a limousine? Because it sounds to me like what they're saying is what this says is a male's
Doing it. I still don't know why you read it for me. You should have
no,
read that for.
bro.
You should have
Listen,
read that
listen.
for Dell and said to Dell,
No,
Dell. The
bro,
reason why
because
the
here goes
Egyptians
the
did that is
thing.
because they think
Here
the
goes the
man's
thing.
ass is more
Israelites go
suitable.
off the Bible, right?
That's correct.
Nothing in the Bible in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not, identifies homosexuality.
That doesn't like saying because it's not in the Ten Commandments don't apply to an Israelite because we know we have more than 10 commandments. You're using 10 commandments to help
Which
Dell
one
out.
of them
That doesn't help this
commandments,
argument.
commandment
I
that
just
says
read it.
commandment number 17,
I
18,
it don't
38,
don't no. There is no
49?
number for
I
any
did
commandment.
okay. We're talking about the numbered ones. Dale, this how you
All of
fight
there
this
there
nigga. You
is
gotta
no
keep
there is no literal number in the Bible that you're gonna read. Number one, number two, number three, number four. That don't
okay.
exist in the Bible.
So, so,
So when I go to Leviticus
and
8
what year
19,
did they really start identifying homosexuality as being a mental thing? It was like in the 40s or 50s, right?
that I'm not sure. I know they stopped identifying it as a mental disease in the 70s.
Well, I know in the 50s they did because I was researching it, right?
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah, I'm just familiar with when they
personally,
stopped.
I'm gonna keep it real. I have come to believe um, that I do believe some people were born that way. I used to wouldn't say that. I'm gonna tell you why I say that. I watched them do studies on people, right? And they're born, and they say because this part of their brain is not functioning normal, so this is why even at 24 years old they still act as a child, right? Or different things, right? And they're all associated with the brain. And a lot of in these situations, this is what it been day one. It ain't like the child was normal and then went back to this. Now we do have instances where a grown was normal, took a bad drug or something happened, threw off the chemical imbalance, and then now they become delusional or bipolar, schizophrenic, this type of shit, right? We've seen car accidents and things, head traumas happen to where you see a drastic change, right? So I asked myself, well, if a person could be born and a part of their brain didn't grow, mature, is not functioning right, and this is why they still act as a child, even as with an adult year tied to their age. Okay, what makes you think that the part of the brain, whatever part it may be, that tells me I'm a man, act this way? What makes us believe that that part of the brain could not have been something not wrong with it, or did not be all the way matured for this male to be born, but from day one has always been feminine?
I don't agree that you could be born that way, but I do agree that
You
it
hear
can.
what I'm saying though? Meant that the
Yeah,
brain is the control center, Cap. You
yeah,
get what
but I
I'm
think
saying?
something. Yeah, but I also think that some things are learned behavior, like when kids do
No,
things
no,
and
no,
be.
no. I'm not saying it's not those out there that have learned and wanted to go that way. Cause I know some motherfuckers that was men and fought and sports, nigga, kids and aggressive, that for whatever reason went that way. I'm talking about those that out the womb, when they start crawling and walking, everything about them before they knew what the word feminine was that's what they were.
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
think
talking about. So, like when kids do anything, if you don't teach them not to do it, and I think because people believe that you could be born that way, they could see a kid doing something and they just encourage it instead of disencouraging it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think a kid is born anyway. Anything can be mental. I'm not taking away from no mental, but I don't think a kid
no,
is
no,
born
what
any.
we talking about is all mental. Because that's like saying somebody has a 17-year-old son, right? And because he still acts like he's 6 or 7, saying the parents neglected to teach him.
No, but you would identify him being mental sometimes in the womb. Like they'll tell you if your kid, like I remember with my daughter, they told my wife rather about my daughter before she was born. And so in some cases, like with a child being older and then 17, like you said, I wouldn't blame them on bad parenting.
No,
Or
you
unless
can't
unless you
because it's
see.
okay. So what's the difference in another situation to where you like, yo, we done stuck a football, we done beat this, we put this boxing and fighting, and grew up around nothing but boys. But day one, this would have been. You wouldn't contribute that to maybe it's a part of the brain, whatever part that may be. We could probably look it up, right? That maybe didn't mature, didn't grow, or not functioning properly.
Yeah, in my studies of it, I haven't seen enough information for me to go with being born that way. Um,
A cat, real quick. I think outside of the bedroom or sexual aspect, just talking about being feminine in that way. If there was no sex involved, like we all have friends that was like that, but it don't mean they're gonna go the other way in the bedroom. But they are predisposed to be a little feminine, a little softer, a little this, a little. That's all he talking about, not
I
the
do. No,
actual
I
act.
know what he's talking about, but in my
Oh, okay.
studies, that predisposing is usually to some type of act that he was exposed to, or she was exposed to, that brought that out. You know
No,
what I'm
but
saying?
he's
But
discounting that. He's saying in the most masculine environment or the most normal environment, it still presents. Like I've seen that. You've seen that with people.
I have not.
Don't
I
mean
have
they
not.
gonna go the other way, but I'm saying like,
I know exactly what you're saying, and when I
yeah.
got down to in my studies, I would just disagree. It's always been something that triggered that, and just in my studies, so I can't agree with that.
Bro, let me tell you something. I'm not gonna say his name because I know his family. Nigga, whole family is gangsters, dope dealers. These niggas be fighting all motherfucking day. This was a house that a nigga hated to walk by because it was something gonna happen. We all had that house in the neighborhood. The last boy is born, right? All these niggas was raised by their mama and had a crazy ass granddaddy. Mama get mad, so I'm calling your granddaddy, and knew hell was gonna break loose. This house niggas fought the pit bulls, niggas fought each other. Everything, all these niggas is men. The last son is born, feminine as a mother. Straight up. Nigga, it wasn't nothing a nigga could do. Nigga body slam fought, tied the pit bull around his waist. Nigga like, what the wrong with this nigga? So, it wasn't his environment. It had to be something mentally.
Well, somebody touched that boy.
No,
Nah.
you missing what I'm trying to tell you,
Hey, Cap,
bro.
I
it
know. I
happens
get
on.
what you're saying. I
Oh,
get what you're
sorry.
saying.
Hey, Cap, it happens on the female side too. Come up in a single parent home, only females around, and she a tomboy, and real act like a dude. Don't mean she gonna go the other way, but that's how she act. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody turn her that way or nothing like that. So you think everybody was turned like
Yeah.
So
by
you don't think mentally nothing ever played a part to where it's a part of the brain? You know what? I wonder, it had to be some study of, and they probably have it. I don't know if anybody would have to volunteer for that, because I don't. A study, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Of, like, for instance, to take Naughty and study different parts of Naughty's brain. Naughty actually had more versus my brain. Naughty's or mother. Cap, your brain. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because all three are men, but to see the similarities, okay, well, Wack and Cap's brain seem to be, but then we got this little part right here on Naughty's brain that's a little different, whatever part it is, from Cap and Wack's brain. So then they can go get somebody else that's a transgender that will say, because Naughty said day one, the mama said, remember the mama? The mama said Naughty had more estrogen and a low testosterone. So it was the opposite. So it was the opposite. So Naughty's born with more estrogen, which is what women's supposed to have, and less testosterone. So I don't know. I don't know how that affects the brain. I don't know. I'm just talking right now. So you
Right.
take Cap, Wack, and Naughty. They look at our brains. They do the extra, whatever they do, and they say, okay, Wack and Cap's brains are similar across the board, but this part in Naughty's brain is showing to be a little smaller or a little bigger, where Cap and Wack's are kind of the same size of things. So then you take another transgender and compare that person with Naughty. Now we done isolated a part of the brain that differentiates between me, you, and him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because I it's some people that I know, now that I think about it, I watched how they grew up. Motherfuckers was just feminine. And I be telling my homie, I'm like, my nigga, have you? He said, Wack, we done all thought about what the fuck. I'm like, well, do the nigga got a boyfriend? No, if he do, we don't know nothing about it. The nigga just act like that.
Yep.
The way he talk, everything, bro. Like, it was just feminine.
Yeah, I grew up. Yeah, I grew up with a couple of people that was like that.
You
Where
get what
they.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
So do you think they all was touch, Cap? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to say anything with 100% certainty, I would never say that. But just from my studies, that's where predominantly most of it
Now, I do
stems.
know some people that didn't made that decision. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna listen. I know some dudes that didn't went that way on some real shit.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Hefe from A-Trey Gangster, he exposed one of his own homies. Y'all remember that shit on Instagram where the nigga was walking down Fig in the high heels and they jumped out
Oh
and whooped
yeah,
on
yeah,
him?
yeah. I
Oh,
saw that video. I
that
didn't know
was
who
one
it
of
was.
Aunt Hefe, homie.
Ed
Yeah, I didn't know
Hefe, the
who it
one
was, but I
exposed
saw
that.
that video. Yeah, I saw the
Yeah,
video.
he exposed it. That's why he tell a nigga, don't tell me about exposing you when I didn't expose my own. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So You know, this nigga was banged out, putting in work, and I've seen niggas in jail. I've seen niggas in jail. Bumpy, you seen niggas. I didn't see niggas get turned the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. You know, that's why with me, if a nigga say, hey, if a man get fucked, right, well, you call him gay. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm very, very cautious on how I answer that. I didn't watch a nigga 140 pounds going to sell with a nigga 250 bench pressing 500 pounds for the last 8 years. Get woke up 2 o'clock in the morning to a knife or a flurry of blows and get his manhood took. Now, I'm not gonna say manhood took, get violated and penetrated. And I didn't watch that same nigga come out of that cell the next morning, get a hold of a 40-pound dumbbell and bash that nigga in. So if you ask me, do I think that man is gay, right? I'm gonna say no. Now, I've also seen people go in that cell and accept the abuse and come back and accept the abuse, and next thing they on their run. So, this shit be like kind of, and just thinking about it, I'm like, whack. We got people that act all certain ways from a child. So what makes you think is a part of the brain that may not be a contributing factor to somebody that from a child? Not a month we looked at act masculine, know what it is, but from a child. A naughty mama come on this floor and said, from a child, showed us a picture. Them is all boys in the picture. Naughty mother little ass standing there with duck lips, bending knees and shit. You know what I'm saying? So the mama was like, out of shit. Day one. I guess when they went to do tests, I don't know. I guess now I do know women. Some of us got these aunties in our family, got more male hormones in them than they should. They grow little beards and shit. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all got an auntie or something in the family. Yeah, might be your mama. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, what about them, baby? Who can't fit them? They extra larges? I can fit them. You can fit them? I can. No, you can't. Actually. You got ass. You ain't got that much ass. You a woman with ass. Yo, you a little bitty mother. Yeah, so I've seen that. But I'm just, when we think about it today, when we read that shit Cap said, I don't know, yeah.
that are actually Egyptian. I don't know if Egyptians, it's mainly black people, and so the battle really comes, Wack, is when I'm battling black people over here on that subject, and because they don't agree with homosexuality, when we read what that culture did, they fight it because of their belief against homosexuality. Not that the Egyptians had an issue with it, because the Egyptians didn't have an issue with it. Egyptians had a guy named Men who used to. Oh, I ain't gonna go into all that, but they
Yeah,
had
you
gods that
wild.
you know about men though, but they had gods that did wild things. But to Egyptians, that was their culture. If you go further than Egyptians believe you can get a woman pregnant by the mouth. You know what that meant, right? So, yeah. So
Bro,
there are things in
everything
that
you said, the stories are not about people.
you can't say the stories are not about
I can
people.
say, I
And
just
no,
said
you gotta let me finish the statement. You gotta let me finish
it's
the
just
statement.
like your
You can't.
fairies in the
You gotta let
Bible.
me.
You said
You
they
gotta let
not
me.
people, right?
You gotta. No, they are
Hold on,
people. I
hold
never.
on. No, I'm adding clarity for the floor. Just like
But
your
you're not letting me
fairies.
finish to know what I'm saying to
But
add
Cap, you
clarity
about
to.
to attack something you don't understand what I'm
I'm not
saying.
a. You don't know
So when
what I'm saying. Like you gotta get out your feelings,
because
Dale.
you
Let me
don't,
just finish the statement.
bro, stop with when you speak with passion about your little
But you're
Bible, nobody say
interrupting me in
feelings.
the middle of you
No, but
interrupting
you
me in the
always
middle of
say
my
feelings,
statement.
but you love that Bible, so stop.
But I do love it, and I wouldn't
Exactly.
stop you
That's
if you was
feelings.
making your
Love is a
statement
feeling.
about it. Right, but let me finish my statement. You can't say that it's not real people for this reason. Number one, it's men that are writing these records, and then men that are emulating what they're writing about the netters. They don't use the term God, they use the term netters. They have a bunch of netters. So here's an example. You got the sky netter Newt, you got the earth netter Geb. In men's folklore of writing about them, they were brother and sister that was having sex with each other, and their father had to separate them. That's how you have the sky, that's how you have the earth. Now, how does that correlate to actual life? Brothers and sisters had sex with each other so that as them believing pharaohs and keeping their bloodline pure, they would sleep with each other and then have children. So you can't say that it's not real when the people that wrote it emulated what they wrote.
Are
You
you
can't
done
say it's
talking
not
about?
real.
Are you done?
Yes,
Are you good?
yes,
Because now I can
yes, I am.
clarify for people. So, men also wrote your Bible. They wrote about fairies. They emulated what the fairies and angels was doing. So, what's your point? And for the sky and the earth, for plants to grow and for life to grow, the sky would provide the seminal whatever for the earth. That was the metaphor. It wasn't people.
Yeah, that went way over your head. When you mention
It
fairies, if
ain't
you're gonna
go
talk
over,
about
dog.
it,
It ain't that deep,
if
dog. I'm
you're
a
gonna
learned
mention
dude,
the
dog. But
Bible,
dog,
if you're gonna
dog.
mention fairies in the Bible, at least you ain't say nothing that
Hey,
they did
hold
in the
on.
Bible.
Just
I'm
stop real
telling
quick.
you,
Just stop real quick. You line for line said men wrote these stories for Kemet and emulated the stories about the netters. Men also wrote the stories in the Bible and emulated what the fairies did.
fairy is not in the Bible though.
What is?
When you
What
say
do you
fairy, you
call
saying
it? Because
homos?
earlier you said that.
Wait 1 second.
Angels, 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 angels. How about that?
Okay, what did they emulate that angels
I
did?
don't know. You the one that made the emulation comment.
You made this
You said
argument.
that.
Wait,
No,
hold
no,
on.
no.
I didn't
You
say
said,
nothing
wait, wait,
about
wait.
what angels. Hear what I'm saying, Dale.
Let's
And
go
it's
back and
like
forth. Let's
how
go
you
back and
did,
forth one at a
how you
time.
did, how you did line for line for me. When I spoke about what the pharaohs did by their brothers and sisters sleeping with each other, because Geb and Newt slept with each other, you countered by saying what the fairies did, the writers of the Bible emulated. But then I asked you, what is a fairy? You said the angels.
She was a fairy.
I'm asking you, what are the angels doing that the men emulated? You're not saying that. You're
No,
just
no, no.
saying,
Yeah, because that's not the point. But the point is, you're trying to say that since men wrote it, they emulated whatever spiritual beings that they wrote about. They emulated that. Isn't that your point?
what my point is
I
that
mean,
when
that's
you
a yes or
said,
no. No, that's a yes or
wait,
no.
can you say it one more time,
No,
please?
no, no. You said, and you're right about men writing the literature, right? And it's about
Yes.
netters.
Yes.
Okay. And that they emulated what the netters did, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Okay. And I was just making the same correlation. Men wrote about spiritual figure. If they're not fairies, I apologize, but angels or whatever, right? Did your Bible writers also emulate what they wrote about?
Oh, okay.
That the
So if
angels,
you,
that's it. That was
okay,
it. It was
I
just a
would got you, but
logical,
I don't.
that's all.
Right, but if you, okay, I think
I'm
I'm trying to get
asking
what
you
you're
because
saying.
you're a Bible, you know the
I'm
Bible.
I'm going to respond. I'm trying to get what you're saying because you didn't give an example. So if you're saying that if the angels obey God, we obey God, that's an example. Yes. I'm not arguing that. Nobody's arguing that the writers of the Bible wrote about God and did what God said, did what the angels said. That ain't the argument. The
No.
argument is the argument here is what the Egyptians did as far as homosexuality goes was not frowned upon by them during that time. Incest that they did was not frowned upon by them at that time. That not only did the Egyptians themselves do it, but the netters that they believed in did it that was written by them. That's the only argument.
But
You're
what you're trying to
defending it because
wait.
you're against
Oh wait,
homosexuality
no,
and
no,
you're
no, no,
against
no. That
incest.
you're that listen. That's your whole thing, right? But what you never provide is literature of men doing that to other men. You're only making a leap about what they wrote about the netters. The same way somebody can make the leap. If the angels laid with men, why wouldn't men lay with men?
No, so here's the difference. In Genesis
See?
the 6th chapter, I'm gonna just tell you the difference. The difference in Genesis the 6th chapter, it doesn't use the word angel. It used the word sons of God, which Israel is sons of God. Psalms 82 and 6, ye are gods. We can read where men are gods. In the Egyptian folklore that we talking about, Seth and Horus are netters, or what we would look at as gods, having sex with each other. You're not going to read two angels having sex with each other. You're not going to read a God having sex with an angel in the Bible. You're not going to read that. But we can read, not only did they have sex with each other, but then he called the semen out of Horus' ear. That's in their folklore.
Do you see any men? Does it say any men?
I never said, I said, the word I
Okay.
used
All right.
was
I rest
netted.
there. I'm just telling you what you're doing is since
I'm
they
not doing anything.
hold on. Since they anthropomorphize a lot of things that had to do with humans, they put it in the spiritual realm to make sense of, right? So if
I
they
don't know
see,
what you make sense of
hold on,
banging a nigga in his
hold
ass.
on, can I
Hey, let
just
him
finish?
land, Cap.
How
Yeah.
you gonna say let him
So
land when he been interrupting me when he wanted to?
I'm sorry, Cap. I'm sorry. So listen. So if the sky provides rain and plants come up, when you're doing it from a human perception, you're thinking it brought life to Earth from the sky. That is how they wrote.
You done now? So now that is not how they wrote
That is how
initially.
you can't.
This
You,
got
first off, what I ain't gonna let you do,
now you
what
just
I'm not,
said
no, no, no.
now I
But what
just
I'm
asked
not
if
gonna
you
let
was
you do,
I
no.
just
But
asked
what
if
I'm
you was
hold on, just
done.
pause for a
I
second.
just why I
No,
gotta pause? You
because
interrupted me,
you can
man.
say, listen,
Why
listen,
you get why you getting on it emotional?
because
Like
it
you
ain't
just
about you keep saying that,
Ebony
though.
just came off mic and said let him land. I just
Yeah,
asked
but
if you
you're
was
not gonna
done.
start
You
off
didn't say
with
nothing,
that's
and
not.
then now when I respond.
Hold on, Dale. You gotta let him land. He asked you, so
Then
let
just
him
say what you
rebuttal.
said.
Thank you. What you're trying to do is put a spin on it. If you go further into Gab, Kemet is one of the only, excuse me, maybe not the only, but their earth is a man. Every other culture, the earth is a woman. And when you go into their records, they say that Gab poured seed in his mouth and brought forth creation. And the image of it is a man with a penis aimed at his mouth. That's their records. That's what they said. So I'm not making this up. And the only reason you get the sky and the earth in their folklore is because they was having sex with each other and their father had to separate them. That's their records. So if you want to give me the agricultural afterwards, that's fine. But that's not addressing what I initially said about the sky and the earth being brother and sister, and the father had to stop them from having sex with each other by separating them. And that's how you have the sky and the earth. I'm done now.
You should be, dog, because that's how you're always going to see it from your Israelite perspective, and that's fine. You know, I respect your what you follow, what you believe. But if you get a counter from another side, just know that
And just to
exists too.
understand, Dale,
And
what side do you fall on?
I study a lot of Nile Valley, so a lot of their stories are like mythological and, like I said, anthropomorphized. So what that all that means is everything that happens in nature, you put a human element to it because you can only understand things through a human eye. You understand what I'm
Okay, so
saying? So
you're more
everything look,
so spiritual?
yeah. But what I'm saying
Okay.
is the way that they wrote was basically telling every story from a human experience, but at the spiritual level. So it's tough. And that was their culture. And they got tons of books on it and tons of writings and walls all filled up to the day. And I spent a lot of time reading it. So, but I can
Absolutely.
understand his interpretation of it because he's an Israelite and an intelligent Israelite. So, I mean, I've been around Cat for a long time, you know what I mean? So, a
Yeah, I
lot of
get
years.
that.
And he's good.
But
Yeah,
you know,
but
I
there's
had
always
to
going to
I
be a bump of heads when we talk. It's always going to be that, but it's going to be respectful because I respect what
always.
his people do and what they believe. You know
But
what I'm
when
saying?
y'all get
Yeah, love. This shit finna go crazy. This shit finna go crazy.